in the process of China pulling out from purchasing soy from American soybean farmers, China then redirected those soybean purchases to Argentina. So we're getting double by the Trump administration's actions because it's not America first, it's Donald Trump's butt buddies first and America last. Ingram, U.S. Treasury finalized $20 billion currency swap framework with Argentina. What do we get out of it?
Treasury. Explain to our viewers what is going on with Argentina, because the U.S. Treasury today directly purchased Argentine pesos and finalized this $20 billion currency swap framework with Argentina's central bank.
Can you do me
so
also?
The intent, I guess,
no.
is to provide assistance from the Latin American country's economic turmoil. It's clear how Argentina benefits from this deal.
Any validity about the situation was thrown out when they did that obvious jump cut of you and people bought it? Insane. Yeah, it doesn't matter. People did buy it, though. People unironically were like, oh, no, he 7 years ago said he bought a shock collar and loves using it or some shit. When the part that they clipped out was me saying, I wouldn't use it. I would never use it. They literally just clipped it out and people just still went with it. And I don't even expect people to know the full context. I don't even remember talking about that because it was 7 years ago. What is more shocking is that there was a dude out there who was like, now is my time to shine. Here's a clip from 7 years ago that I have clip chimped. How do you deal with something like that? At least you stopped using your dog as a prop, Mr. Palpatine? Yeah, I know. Wait, she's on a walk right now, but when she comes back, I'll keep forcing her to stand in that one area as a prop. Yeah. You must not have a dog if you think that a dog doesn't want to be around their owner. Anyway, let's continue with this Argentina thing.
We get a lot out of it. Argentina is a beacon in Latin America. President Milei has done the right thing.
Anyway, let's continue with this Argentina thing.
We get a lot out of it. Argentina is a beacon in Latin America. President Milei has done the right thing. 100 years of a bad cycle in Argentina. He is also a great ally for the U.S. He'll be coming to the Oval Office next Tuesday, and he is committed to getting China out of Argentina. They're all over the place in Latin America. And when people say to me, how is this not America first? I'll tell you why it's not. Do you want to be shooting at more gunboats like in Venezuela? We do not want a failed state.
So this isn't a bailout?
Sorry, it's not a bailout at all. There's no money being transferred. The ESF has never lost money. It's not going to lose money here. I was in the investment business, mostly currencies, for 40 years. You're supposed to buy low, sell high, and the Argentine peso is undervalued. We're going to have an election in Argentina the 26th of this month. We think President Milei will do quite well. And he is putting the Peronist path behind them. And people in the U.S., especially on the left, they are willing to, Senator Warren tried to put a bill in front of the Senate that the Exchange Stabilization Fund could not bail out.
What is this? Shock collars on level 1 to 5 are fine. 8 to 10 kind of not okay unless a violent dog get normal friends. I don't know who you're talking to.
Argentina, which I think is rich because she's an American Peronist. Don't cry for me, Massachusetts. And when Joe Biden was in office, what was their idea of foreign aid? It was circumcision.
This is what we got out of the aid. Argentine President Javier Milei took on a rock star role during his book launch, performing several hits to a packed audience. Wow. Incredible stuff happening in Argentina. We have our Minister of Economy in the USA for 2 weeks now. We are kowtowing hard. Yeah, from what I understand, this is a deal that I think Scott Bessant is what I was going to say, like I'm Sam Cedar. Scott Bessant's like bestie demanded, like openly. Like Scott Bessant's bestie straight up was like, "Hey, you need to bail out Argentina. I hold too much Argentinian debt, and I cannot let a default happen." And And Scott was like, you got it, King. I got you. Yeah. So the Argentine bailout wasn't for Argentina as much as it was for hedge fund friend of Scott Bessent. Rob Citron, a billionaire hedge fund guy who owns Discovery Capital, purchased Argentine debt and equity in numerous companies closely tied to the country's overall economy. He made a bet that the economic policies would revitalize the economy. He was wrong and stood to lose his ass. This was nothing more than crony capitalism at taxpayers' expense. Straight up, bro. Here's the Mother Jones article on it. Bessent's announcement had massive economic benefits for one American, billionaire hedge fund manager Rob Citron, who has placed large bets on the future of the Argentine economy. Citron, the co-founder of Discovery Capital Management, is also a friend and former colleague of Bessent, a fact that has not been previously reported in U.S. media outlets. Citron, by his own account, helped make Bessent very wealthy. Since Javier Milei, a right-wing populist, became president of Argentina in December 2023, Citron has invested heavily in Argentina. Yeah, exclusive. Rob Citron says Argentina will lead golden decade for Latin America. Oops. Citron has bought Argentine debt and purchased equity in numerous Argentine companies that are closely tied to the performance of the overall economy. Due to Argentina's massive debt load and chaotic economic history, in 2023, Argentina's inflation rate was over 200%. Citron purchased Argentine bonds with an interest rate of nearly 20%. Citron has declined to detail exactly how much of the $2.8 billion he manages is invested in Argentina. Citron, who is also a minority owner of the Pittsburgh Steelers, is effectively betting on Milei's right-wing economic program, which emphasizes deregulation and sharply reduced government spending. Citron viewed the probability of default as minuscule, even though Argentina has defaulted on its debts many times in the past. In the short term, this appeared to be a savvy investment. After taking office, Milei fired tens of thousands of government workers, cut spending on welfare and research, and achieved fiscal balance. Inflation was reduced to around 40%, which spurred economic growth and foreign investment. Argentina's economy rebound contributed to Discover Capital's 52% return in 2024. Then it all came crashing down. The austerity measures slowed economic growth. Oh my God. How shocking. Who could have foreseen that? And unemployment spiked to nearly 8%. Millions had a harder time making ends meet after Milei reduced or eliminated subsidies for transportation, medicine, and other necessities. Milei's popularity slumped, leading to speculation that his party could be routed in the 2025 midterm elections, which would hamstring Milei's ability to implement his agenda. This created an economic panic, with investors dumping the peso and liquidating other Argentine assets. Milei has desperately attempted to keep inflation in check. Last week, Argentina's central bank spent more than $1 billion to shore up the peso, but Argentina was running out of foreign currency. That spelled trouble for Citron. The Bessent of the Trump administration came to the rescue, floating a $20 billion economic package that helped stabilize the Argentine peso and function as a political lifeline for Milei. But wait, there is more. In the process of China pulling out from purchasing soy from American soybean farmers, China then redirected those soybean purchases to Argentina. So we're getting double by the Trump administration's actions, because it's not America first, it's Donald Trump's butt buddies first and America last. Okay? That's it. So just remember that. Just remember that. What is this? I really can't get over them buying pesos low. The swaps are bad, but buying the Argentine peso outright at this moment is like buying an entire city block of houses that are actively on fire. And the fact that they're not disclosing how much they bought is bone chilling. We have a lot of fun on here, and I like to make a lot of jokes, but in all seriousness, take all your money out of the bank right now. They're trying to molest your money. Don't let them. We are giving Argentina money to grow soybean to sell to China, which is the soybean that we used to sell to China until Donald Trump decided to say China and also the soybean farmers, I'm going to get my money up. I don't even know still to this day why he did this. Okay? I do not know why. I still have not heard any sort of reasonable proposition as to why Donald Trump implemented the tariffs regime. I guess it's because we're winning. We're winning so much that you will be saying to me, Mr. President, please, sir, please, we have won too much. Please, sir, no more winning. And I will say, we are going to keep winning. Awesome. Okay? Yeah. In early September, days before Bessent's announcement, Citron, no way. Wow, this guy's a real future seer, huh? Citron bought even more Argentine bonds days before Scott Bessent's announcement of a $20 billion bailout. Wow. That's some real Nancy Pelosi, Paul Pelosi style scheming right there, huh? Future foresight. Incredible. I'm glad that this one specific billionaire who is besties with Scott Bessent is just making out like a bandit. Bessent's personal and professional relationship with Citron has spanned decades. Okay? It's not me, I swear, says Sick-Trone. Interesting. Gift some subs right now to prove that you're not him. Or I guess that would kind of prove that you are him. No, he wouldn't have any money to give subs right now. So this way you can actually prove that you're not him. If you have enough walking around money in your pocket, it's a stick up. Noticias Financieras, a leading Latin American economic publication, describes Citron as a friend of the Secretary of the Treasury. El Cronista, citing government sources, reported that Citron has a personal relationship as well as a past working relationship with Bessent. Citron has also reportedly leveraged his relationship with Bessent to gain access to Trump. According to Noticias Financieras, in November, Citron gave a case of 4 red wines to Javier Milei during his visit to Mar-a-Lago in Palm Beach in his first meeting with Donald Trump. Oh, there was also the IMF deal that was secured. Bessent traveled to Argentina to meet with Milei and other top Argentine officials. It was an unusual choice for the Treasury Secretary's first foreign trip. Citron arrived in Argentina at the same time as Bessent, meeting with Milei just before Scott Bessent did. During those meetings, Bessent emphasized U.S. support for Argentina's economic agenda. Oh shit, Sick-Trone with a 10 gifted. I guess you are not. I guess you are not him. I like that there are chatters in here while I'm reading this article are going, did Congress approve this? And I laugh. I say, Congress who? What do you mean? What is a Congress? Is there such a thing? It kind of feels like they don't exist, does it? Especially considering that something that many Americans learn, the ones that actually do go and get like, any kind of education in regular school as opposed to homeschool, what's the first thing that you learn? Congress has the power of the purse. And it turns out Congress doesn't even have the power of the purse. So what kind of power does Congress even have? What does it mean that Congress gets to fund initiatives? For example, if the Trump administration can decide later down the line, no, we don't want to fund those initiatives. As a matter of fact, I don't like to fund those initiatives. I like to fund my friends. So what power does Congress have? This is part of the government shutdown political football. That's a matter of fact. The unlikely heroes of the story, Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries, are unironically trying to bring back some of that, claw back some of the separation of powers that used to exist in this fucking country that no longer exists under the Trump rule. I know a lot of this stuff comes across as fucking boring. I get it. It's hard to follow. It's kind of boring. Why the fuck do we care about this stuff? But it is kind of significant. You just need to know who's fucking you in the ass, okay? Sometimes, even if it comes across as boring, inside baseball or some shit like that, you have to understand, like, there's a reason why I'm covering it. Because you just need to know. You just need to know who is fucking you. Yes, they just some bills. Yes, they only some bills, and they sit in there on Capitol Hill. Yup. It hasn't affected me, so it's not important. Fair. I paid $37 in tariffs on a $75 item yesterday. Can't stop winning. America's so hot. Here's a farmer on how the Argentina bailout fucks them.
We get up one morning and you give Argentina, which is our second biggest competition in the world.
You know, half his fucking homies, maybe himself as well, voted for Donald Trump and would do it again, by the way.
We're the largest exporters of soybean meal in the world. So I get up one morning, I turn the news on, and you give $20 billion of taxpayer money to my competition. And then the Chinese buy, I think the figure is 30 or 40 containers, ships, which is about 65,000 metric tons per ship, which is like 2.2 million bushels. So they buy 12 or 14 billion dollars.
I need you to understand something. I know for a fact that if given the opportunity, these motherfuckers would vote for Trump again. Do you want to know why I know that? Because Trump did this the last time and they still voted for him. Do you understand? It's not new. Trump did this the last time. And they were like, oh, I can't believe he's doing this. They're really fucking me over. What the hell? And then they turned around and fell for it again. What do you say to this guy? How do you get a guy that literally is a business owner, okay? Because remember, these farmers aren't like, they're not farm hands. They're like owners of business, kulaks, if you will. How do you get that guy? I don't know about this guy in particular, but I know many fucking farmers exactly like this guy. They did vote for Donald Trump again, and Donald Trump had fucked them in the same exact way. Maybe not this hard, but in the same exact way last time he was president. Again, with the China shit. What happened? What happened? I thought there's one thing that you're supposed to care about more than anything else, which is money, okay? Your pockets. And your pockets were hurting. Yeah, it's not like, guys, he didn't do this with anything but soybeans. Like, this literally happened with China specifically because of soybeans. So soybean farmers that got fucked over last time because Trump did this exact same thing, maybe not to this degree, but a very similar deal making took place, and China said, okay, we're lowering the amount of soybeans we're purchasing from American soybean farmers in order to fuck Trump over. And they literally were like, oh no, Mr. President, what have you done? And Trump was like, shut up. Here's some fucking bailout money. Okay, suck my dick. And then these guys turned around and went, yeah, I think I'm going to vote for him again. I think I'm going to vote for him again. Hopefully he doesn't do the soybean thing that he did. Okay, last time he did that. Yeah, at least a trans person won't be able to use the bathroom in the Starbucks 3 states over. Yep, fucking fantastic. Last time he gave the farmers a bailout, they're only mad they haven't gotten their socialism yet. I mean, it's not... Can they actually make up for the amount that they're losing in this situation? The whole point is to screw over small American farmers so rich billionaires can buy up their land and have a chokehold over all the resources. They're just too stupid to realize that they can't. Yeah, I can see that. There's always a bigger capital owner, okay, out there. You might be thinking you're sitting pretty on top of your throne, okay, where you think like, oh no, you don't understand. Like, we got automation, we got Mexicans. Trump won't come after my Mexicans. And then you're like, what the hell? He is coming after my Mexicans. How did this happen? It's like, brother, you voted for it. You were at the rallies. You were saying, get them all out. What do you think all means? What do you think was happening at the rallies where you had the mass deportation signs up? What do you think mass means? What do you think deportations means? You were running around saying, get them all out. The fuck? And now you got no workers. You got no bitches. You got no soybeans to sell to China. And you're sitting there bitchless. You're sitting there bitchless and you're like, what the hell happened? It's like, well, the same thing that happened last time happened again. Now you got to sell the fucking farm.
Worth of soybeans from the Argentinians after the tax holiday. And here's the caveat to it. They give $2.30 over the November board. Well, I'm getting...
Imagine banning people for saying you shouldn't harm your dog. Brother, we're not banning people for making like a neutral anti-dog abuse statement. You're making a fucking ridiculous accusation. That's why you're getting banned. I don't get it. I'm just anti-dog abuse. Or I guess you're pro-dog abuse. It's like, no, dumbass. It's because you're saying I'm doing that. Let me explain it to you. Where is the dog? At your mother's house. I don't get it. I have a constitutional right to sit here in the chat of my least favorite Twitch streamer because I got duped by fucking a bunch of bad faith actors into believing that he's actually hurting his dog. Why can't I just sit here and yell at him and call him a fucking dog abuser, bro? What the fuck? Why'd you ban me? It's like, oh, I don't know. Maybe because you're out of your fucking mind. That's a bear, man. Whoever sold you that dog gave you a fluffy bear. Yeah. The designer bear that I purchased for $1 million.
50 cents under the November board. So that makes the Argentinian soybeans about $12.42 a bushel. I think that's the real figure they gave. So all my premium went.
Scott, I just lost you there at the end. You said your premiums go.
Oh, yeah. The state of Israel is going to geofence every major church in California, Arizona, Nevada, Colorado, and all Christian colleges and track churchgoers as they leave to target them with pro-Israel ads, by the way. They're trying to basically fucking hit any group that they can. They're so goddamn desperate. Oh, there was some new information on the Colbert background as well. But here is actual aura. I defended you in a 100-viewer card game stream. I got told I need to be castrated and that I endorse dog killing. Lesson learned. That shit drained me for the day. Don't bother, chat. Okay, well, they want you to shut the fuck up about it so they can just like run their mouths. Okay, so no, that's not the best lesson here. Like, that's the whole point. Anyway, the thing about farmers as a political tool is that they're objectively a tiny fraction of a percentage of not only the population, but economic productivity overall. So when you want their votes, you elevate them as a class. But then when they speak out against your policies, you can easily ignore them because they can't exactly band together in any serious way. They say we act like Swifties on Instagram.